All right, folks, last time we made a wall like this. And I don't know about you, but sometimes my eyes go weird looking at these things. It gives me optical illusions. But here we are. We've got our wall. We did start from left. If you want to know which side we started on, you can measure it and say, okay, we started from where, if you measure from the outside where the wall starts to this front corner, it should be 15.25. I believe that is not the same on the other side. If we measure from that point to that point, no, it is 15.25. It's symmetrical. So it actually doesn't matter. A wall is symmetrical. It doesn't matter whether we accidentally flip it around or not. And we're going to put in that window frame that we had made last time. So let's plan on starting approximately 4 feet in, which would be or from 0, 1, 2, 3 studs. We're going to leave that fourth stud from the end there, and we're going to eliminate the next 3 because those are going to be in our way. So here's how to do that: is go over to your browser over here, and you'll see where you made that linear pattern. We're going to down arrow that, and look, you can hover over all of them. So you find the one that is the 5th one in, which is that one. It should be the 3rd stud down in the pattern. We're going to right click that, and we're going to suppress it. Click suppress. And what that does is it essentially erases it, but it makes it that you can bring it back. And we're going to go to do the next 2 also. Now, I believe I should be able to click on those. Now we should be able to do the next 2 also. If I click on that and click on that, and I should be able to right click and suppress both of those. Okay, so it essentially got those out of our way, which is fine. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to insert a sub-assembly. Now, pay attention. This is important because it's going to be a little weird when we go in here. I need to I'm going to kind of zoom out so I can be out of the way here. Let's take this linear pattern and click on that arrow again to get it out of the way because I need to see things over here. We're going to insert, and this time we don't see it here because I need to insert an assembly into the assembly. So we're going to click on assemblies. We're going to click on window frame. We're going to bring it in here and click. Now, I believe that this is one component that stays as one component, which is good. I want it to do that. But to make sure all of these pieces stay together, it's a good idea that we lock these things together by using what's called group. So up here in the middle is group. Click that group and then come over to where your window frame assembly is and just click on that. And it's going to lock all those together so they won't move around, and all those pieces will be stuck together. All right, that makes sure that we won't run into any problems later. Now, I think I'm going to flip this over because I need to see the side that only has the jack stud with no king stud. We're going to use this 4th stud in as the king stud. Excuse me, for that frame. So I think I need to kind of flip, flip this around. I need to exit out of this, say, yay, I got it. Okay, now I should be able to flip the whole thing around that way. Actually, I only want it to go halfway. Let's do that. And then I should be able to kind of move it around like this. There we go. So that this side without the king stud is going to go over here. So again, learn how to zoom in and out. You guys should be getting better at the fastened mates to know what you're doing now. Hover over that until that guy shows up on the corner. Click, zoom out, zoom in. I'm going to go a little faster now, knowing that you kind of know what you're doing. Click, and we should have our frame. Now, It didn't bring the whole thing. This is an annoying thing about Onshape for me. I wish it would bring the whole thing in, but it only brings the one piece connected to it. When you hit the check mark, then it should bring everything over. Now, if it's flipped around for some reason, it means you didn't put those connectors in right, or you might need to try and do the flip thing or whatever. So now we should have our window frame in there. Now notice that this gap is a little bit smaller than this gap because we kind of went into the pattern, and that's okay. Now we're going to put the cripples in because the cripples give us something to nail panels to, because otherwise we'd have this big open area that would be weak. So we do need to put some cripples in, and here's how we're going to do that. So we've got, we want to continue the pattern of studs. We're going to bring in whoops, not up there, sorry. We're going to insert, go to our studs, and in studs we had created that Sill jack stud 31.5. That's what we want. That will make for a 48-inch tall opening. And for now we're going to put just one in because we'll pattern it later. Okay, that looks good. Just because I feel like it, I'm going to flip it around and get it to where it's sort of oriented the right way. Doesn't have to be perfect 90 and 90, but it helps. All right, so the first one now, watch carefully because it matters. We're referencing the distance not from the jack stud, but from the king stud that's part of the normal 16-inch on center pattern. So when we do this, the easiest way this time to make a mate here is we're going to put it in the middle of the board, right there. Click. And then we're going to reference the middle of the king stud, not the jack stud, the middle of the king stud. If you hover around enough, it should show up. Now, when I click this, it's going to put the board inside of the board. So I have to pay attention to this red line in my case. Now, it might be a different color for you, is the x-axis, and I need to offset it a 16-inch distance. So when I click that, see, it's inside of there, right? But when I go to offset it along the x-axis 16 inches, now it might go the wrong way. Let's see what happens when I hit enter. Happen to go the right way with 16. If it went the other way, I just change it to negative 16. And we're looking good for that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. Let's get rid of this fastened thing. I don't want that anymore. I'm going to take this jack Sill stud that just showed up. I'm going to make a linear pattern out of that. So I'm going to, for instances, I'm going to come choose from my browser that jack Sill stud that I just put in there. Click on direction. Click on the direction you want it to go. Remember, it has to be just a line. We want to go 16 inches. Okay, and our instance count is going to be 3. Because we are going to be, now I think it's going the wrong way. If I hit enter, see how it's, now it is, you can tell it's part of the pattern, but it's going the wrong way. So if I flip this arrow, if you don't have it go in the correct direction, then it won't show up right. Okay, looks good. So now there's a little gap between here and the next one. That's okay as long as it follows that pattern. Notice this. The distance between here and here is the same as the distance between there and the next normal stud, and that's what we want. All right, looks good. I think we're ready to go and ready to now put this wall up and start building. Here we go. Find your assembly that has the house in it. I never named mine. Let's go ahead and do that and rename the main assembly. Let's call it, let's just call it house. And that way we know what we're going to go to. So we're going to go to the house. And I'm going to rotate it around. So I'm looking at this outside left wall over here. We're going to insert an assembly. And the assembly that we're going to insert in is the left wall. I'm not sure why it's not giving me a preview yet. Left wall. And we're going to click the anywhere. It doesn't really matter as long as you can see it. Good. The land makes things look out of proportion, but that's okay. And we're going to now zoom in, and we're gonna put a fasten mate down there on that corner. Click. We only need to do one, and zoom way in, and we're gonna put it up here on the corner of the floor. Be careful because it's sitting on top of the floor, so it needs to go up there on the top of that skinny board. And now again, it moved that bottom board, but when I hit the check mark, it's going to move everything with it. And we have a wall. Nice. All right, so we're getting moving, folks. We're going to have a house at some point. All right, I can turn off that fasten mate. Cool. So let's talk about the other side now, the other side wall. Now this has a window right here, but if you remember, we're not looking at the garage. There's a garage over here. So what's important is to make it look good, this window should be centered in between. If we look at the house here and we look between from here to here with 6 feet, 72 inches. So if we come 16 inches inside, or actually it's a little more than that, but not enough to ruin the aesthetic of it. And then 16 inches in from where the garage wall would be, that's 72 inches is 6 feet minus the 32 inches. 16 plus 16 would leave a 40-inch wide window, would work really well there. So we're going to frame for a 40-inch window. So we're going to have to prepare for that. So let's go to find where our headers are, and we're going to have to make another one. So go up to sketch 1. Remember we made all those extras, and let's turn on sketch 1, and let's extrude another one. Go in the other way, of course, and we need that to be 40 plus 3 for the 1.5 jack studs in each side. So we're going to go 43. Check that. Okay. And we're going to call that by renaming it. And we're going to call it header. And we're going to call it 40 window because it's a 40-inch wide window. They're all the same height. Okay, and again, make it the color that you want it to be. All right, so now we've got the right window. That's all I need because the other ones will work. We've got window frame over here. I think I'm going to leave that one as window frame. All right, let's turn off the sketch and the headers. Do some housekeeping here. When we made window frame before, let's rename that to save some space. I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to call it WNDW frame 48. And it's all based on width. Window frame 48. Enter. Okay. Now, I don't like doing a lot of extra work. Do you? No? Good. So we're gonna find some easier ways of doing this. Go ahead and go to your window frame 48, right click on it, and hit duplicate. Okay. Now somewhere in your stuff will show up window frame 48 copy. Go to that. Okay, right click on it, and we're just going to rename it, and we're going to call it window frame 40. Now, I'm in the window frame 40. That looks just like the window frame 48. Okay, but here's what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the sill and just right click on it, and we're going to delete delete Sill 48. We're going to right click on the header. We're going to delete the header. Now, I just remember we got to make a Sill, so we'll do that in just a second. Delete header 48. Okay, we're going to insert in headers. We're going to insert that header 40 window. Click. If you want to move it around, you can. Let's remember how to use our fasten mates. You should be getting way good at it now. Click. Come on. Keeps wanting to go to the wrong thing. Click. There we go. Oh, I got to spin it. Spin it. Oh, I went to the wrong place. Oh, darn it. Even I'm not good at this now. Nope. Let's try that again. Should have gone to the inside corner. Sorry you have to watch this. Click. Should have gone to that corner over there. Come on, get the right way for me. There you go. Click. Oops, got to flip it. Excellent. All right, now this is a 40-inch rough opening wide, so we're going to need to make another sill. Let's go ahead and go to plates and sills. Since I forgot about that, go turn on our sketch that has all those things in it. Turn it on. I think I'm going to go right next to that other sill. I'm going to extrude that one other way. And this is for a 40-inch rough opening, so it's going to be 40. Enter. Check is good. Change my color of it to what I want. And I'm going to rename this to Sill 40. Enter. Good. Turn off the sketch, so I don't need to look at that. Let's go back into our window frame 40. Let's insert our, from the plates and sills, we are now going to have a Sill 40 that we can put in here. Good. And we got two things left to do. We're going to attach our jack stud to our header. Come on, go the right way. Tricky thing. And there, remember the jack stud holds up the header, so making sure it's on the inside. And we're going to put our sill in. Now, the sill is always going to be 48 inches lower because all of the window heights in this house are 48. So we can go ahead and put our corner to corner. It's probably going to move something I don't want it to move, which is annoying. There we go. And it's inside of the other board. So I'm going to flip it. Good. And I'm going to move along, offset it on the x-axis, 48 inches. Let's see if it goes the right way or the wrong way. It went the wrong way, so now I'm going to have to go negative. Last time it worked, this time it didn't. So negative goes the correct direction, and good. All right, so now we've got our window frame 40. Okay, now let's also do this with the wall. We can also not reinvent the wheel with the wall. Let's go to where we made the left wall. Right click on that one and duplicate it. Okay, now you have left wall copy one, right click, rename it, and call that right wall. Enter. Now, if it's getting a little crowded down here with your tabs, you can always go here to the tab manager, and it helps see things a little bit better in here. So, so that is always available to you. So let's go into the right wall. Now, remember how we brought in some things and we suppressed things and so on and so forth. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go over here where window frame 48 is, and we're just going to delete it. Right click and delete that out of there. Now, we're going to delete these cripples also. Now I might need to delete the linear pattern of those, and that's fine. Delete. Okay. Now, I'm just going to, because it's easier, I think I'll put that in later. Let's go ahead and delete that statue. Now, if you'll remember, before we had gone in and we suppressed some studs in here. So let's go back into that linear pattern, select these three, and unsuppress them. Unsuppress. Okay. Now we've got our whole wall in there. Now we're going to put in a 40-inch wall, which is, let's see, from this stud it will be 16, 32, 48. So we need to delete or suppress these two studs. So let's go back into our pattern and look at, it's the very first, it should be the first one and the second one that we're going to click on those two, right click and hit suppress. And those are going to go away. And now we're going to insert from our assemblies, got to click assemblies, and we're going to insert window frame 40. Click on that, click here. Now, just like the last time, that's a green check mark. This part where the jack stud is holding up the header is going to go against that king stud. So again, we can flip things up and flip things around so that it's kind of going the way I want it to go. Oh, now that time it didn't keep the king stud with it. Let me undo that. Oh, that is interesting. I'm not sure why it's not keeping this all together, but I have a way that I can fix it. Okay, so I brought in window frame 40. Here's what we're going to do before. If you have a problem with things moving around, just come up here to there's a group command where we can group things, and go ahead and click on window frame 40. We should be able to group all that together and say, okay, good. Now it should stay together as a group. If you have the same problem I had, do that. All right, click. Let's flip that up and flip it around. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm moving it anyway. And now we're going to put that into place the way we have with everything else. Fasten mate. I'm going to go down here to the corner. Make sure the blue is facing towards me. Come down here to this corner. Come on. Got to hover over it for a second. Good. And good. Now, it's not symmetrical, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be because it's a 40-inch wide opening trying to fit into a 48-inch wide space. So that's okay that it's not perfect. All right, now we're going to put in the cripples. Same as last time. Get rid of that. Let's insert from our studs. Let's find that Sill jack stud and put in, we just need one of them because we're going to put in a pattern of them. Okay. Again, if you want to flip it up just so it's not annoying the way it's sitting, fine. Now remember, just like last time, I want to go from this board and make a pattern. So my choices are going to be when I do my fascinate, I'm going to choose that point right there on the edge of that board and the corresponding point on this one, which is going to be the outside edge. I'm just realizing now I may have messed that up on the last wall. Click. Okay. Now it's bringing everything together. I'm going to have to hit check mark because it's annoying me. Okay. Now notice it's two things sharing the same spot. So if I go out of that and I go back to the last fastened mate I had, I can double click on that. And first of all, I'm going to flip the direction it's going. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, wow. Flipped my whole wall upside down. Okay, now there's a way to keep this from happening for things to stop flipping around on me. And I'm going to show you that now. I'm going to come up here to anything. Let's choose the bottom plate. It seems the most normal thing to do. Hover over it, right click on it, and somewhere on there it should say fix. Fix means we're holding that thing in place. So now I can't move. I can move other things around in relation to it, but I can't move it. So I think I'm going to start over again with that fasten mate. Just delete it. Delete that last one. And so I'm going to start over again here. All right, now I'm going to do this a little bit different way. I hope you've been kind of keeping up. I'm going to do a fasten mate, but instead of choosing this time, instead of choosing the edge, I'm going to choose, see how it chooses the middle? I'm going to choose that for this one too. The middle and the middle. That way, now right now it's sharing that space, but I'm going to move it along the x-axis, offset it 16 inches. And if it goes the wrong way, I'll change it to negative. Went the wrong way, I'm going to change it to a negative 16. It may or may not work that way for you. Okay, looks good. It's where I want it to be. Good. Now I'm going to get out of this. We're going to go back to our linear pattern that we've done a couple times. I'm going to take that Sill jack stud that is at the bottom, towards the bottom of my list here, and I'm going to go in the direction of, choose that, the line that goes the direction I want it to go. I'm going to flip the direction if I have to. 16 inches is the distance, and there is only going to be 2 this time, because notice this stud is now part of the same pattern. It's here, 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 here is what continues that 48-inch pattern. All right, good. We've got a window. Now, what we don't have is going to come up next class with the door. So we'll do a little bit different. So we're not quite ready to put this in the house yet, because we're about to put that door in. All right, so for right now, whoops, that is not the right thing. You can go to your right wall, take an image of that, and when you do, include your name up here in the picture, please. Turn that in, and next time we will build the door for this wall. All right, we're doing well. It's going okay. Hopefully it's not going to get too tedious. If it gets too bad, we'll talk about ways that we can speed things up. All right, thank you. See you next time.